The following is a presentation of the High Spot Podcast. Making their way to the ring, talking about the world of professional wrestling, the team of Jeff Martin and the trendsetter, Bryan Perga, the Jersey Wrecking Crew.
Yes, the people have spoken. This is the People's Podcast. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and you're listening to the HSP SmackDown review for my tag team partner, the scoundrel Jeff Martin. I am the trendsetter. You're welcome, Bryan Perga. Back again for another episode recapping a pretty interesting SmackDown, to say the least. But guys, before we get into anything, make sure you follow us on all social media, all one word, at High Spot Podcast. Make sure you listen to our show, the High Spot Podcast, where all great podcasts are available, especially Apple Podcasts. Leave us a like, a review, give us a thumbs up on our YouTube channel as well. Make sure you listen to this show, plus the show that we do as well. By popular demand, people want us twice a week.
Yes, they have.
We are doing now the AEW Dynamite recap shows on the unofficial WWE podcast. So, Jeff, first, before we get into anything, it seems like only yesterday we were talking about something, actually maybe a couple days ago because it was AEW Dynamite, but how you doing, and what an episode this was of SmackDown.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting, and I got to really commend you on the intro, because if I would have done this one this week, I definitely would have mixed this up with the AEW Dynamite recap show. So I'm going to give you kudos there, Trendsetter, for getting us into this SmackDown review here on the unofficial WWE podcast. I'm doing great, and listen, man, there's some great ones sometimes that you can't wait to get on here, like we did for Fyter Fest, and then you get some ones that you're like, you just count down the days to
some hits and misses, basically.
You get your hits and your misses.
Yeah.
But we got to cover the misses, right? I mean, we can't just pretend it didn't happen. And this show, to me,
Even though we want to,
you want to, maybe pretend this was just a bad dream. But we did have today's SmackDown review. So I mean, we're
it was
here
actually reality. It really was.
It was a reality. So I'm doing good, man. We're here with a little tropical storm here in the Northeast, but we're doing good, man. We're maintaining here, and we're actually excited to be here again with you guys, because great things are happening here to the High Spot Podcast. We're doing the AEW Dynamite recap show on for AEW. And we're also doing the SmackDown review here for WWE. So, I mean, it can't get any better, Trendsetter. And plus, I'm joined by you. So, let's kick things off. We're going to maybe do a little karaoke later on. I don't know, depending on the mood.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm in. Maybe get some shots in me, too, before we start. But, Trendsetter, we open up with The Miz TV. John Morrison and The Miz. And their special guest is Jeff Hardy.
Oh, yeah, Jeff Hardy doing that. I don't know what they call that move he does on the top of the ramp. But it's iconic now. It's basically everyone wants to do it. Yeah, I mean, I can't do that nowadays, guys. Got a bad back. Got to keep. I'm getting older. I'm getting a little grays in the beard.
Got to be some rotator cuff action.
Exactly. Got to do that DDP. Why? Why not?
Why? Because.
Exactly. But yeah, and the excitement that opens up, guys, where again, I see the point what WWE's trying to do here. They're trying to still focus on a rivalry that is still far from done, although most people at this point might want to consider it done. Sheamus and Jeff Hardy, but again, they keep emphasizing the fact that we, unless you've been living under a rock, understand that Jeff Hardy's been dealing with some personal issues in the past.
We know he's a failure. We know he's a disappointment. We know that he messes up.
Well, Jeff, don't talk about yourself. I'm talking about Jeff Hardy here. And, the mere fact that they're bringing back his past, his addiction problems. Jeff, unless you weren't paying attention to the last 5 weeks, maybe now the audience is getting the message. Listen, I give credit where Jeff Hardy is going into a scenario where I'm sure a lot of people, when it comes to putting storylines in real life in sync together, becomes kind of tough sometimes. I commend Jeff and Sheamus doing great work in terms of really emphasizing that. But sometimes, you can kind of beat that. You could beat a dead horse,
exactly.
And it kind of like you're overemphasizing it.
Just get me to the match, man. Let's just go.
You have the sophomoric humor from Miz and John Morrison, which as cheesy as it is, and is probably more annoying as Bayley is, which we'll talk about later. They do their job very well. Jeff Hardy comes out, talks about, again, wanting to be an example for all those people out there that you can have redemption. You can see the lighter side of things in terms that he will never go back to that life ever again. I'm sure you've heard the story several times before, but this time he really means it. And it all concludes to a match that ends up between The Miz and Jeff Hardy, where Jeff Hardy does the wacky roll-up guy and double pins him while Sheamus is on the Titantron trying to distract him by having, I don't know what that was he was drinking, but it looked really good. And again, it's showcased the fact that they're really beating this to a dead horse, but also we had the suggestion from The Miz and Morrison that Sheamus and Jeff Hardy should finally resolve their issues in a bar fight, Jeff. No,
Yeah.
I said it,
Yeah.
a bar fight.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of kidded and joked about it last week, thinking that it might be a bottoms-up match, and it's kind of
Little did we know,
it's kind of
we're on the same page as WWE Creative.
Yeah, so a bar fight for Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. We knew kind of there was going to be some sort of gimmick involved, and we kind of chose a gimmick here that suited this. I know this is very much in the realm of the Jericho and CM Punk feud, Punk and Jeff Hardy as well too. So it's kind of takes you back to those kind of rivalries and feuds where you take somebody's personal life and somebody's personal trials and tribulations, and you put it into this match. And of course, Jeff Hardy with the whole alcoholism, and as well as dependency on whether it's painkillers or whether it's any other kind of drugs that he was accused of using and stuff. So I get it, and like you said, just get me to this match, because I think that's what we're all feeling like. I think we're all tired of this. It's something that when we talked about a while back when we first opened the show here on the unofficial WWE podcast, we were talking about, okay, it's got me interested a little bit, that whole scene in the Performance Center, and you saw Jeff Hardy being taken away by police, and you were thinking, okay, this is going to lead somewhere. Maybe it's going to keep me on the edge of my seat, but it's another storyline in my eyes that just has gone way too long. And it's not their fault, because there's just been too long gaps between pay-per-views and special events. So I get it, but then again, though, this is one that I'd like to see actually culminate at Extreme Rules, the horror show. I really just I don't think you can squeeze any more out of this. I really don't.
Well, we definitely know there's going to be a match at the horror show at Extreme Rules. But here's the thing. Is it more, Jeff, the fact that we want it to be over because merely the fact that they keep pushing the same thing over and over again? And, I have no problem. I'm very old school, guys. I have no problem with long storylines that continue on and on as you're slowly building and raising the stakes. But how high can the stakes be raised in a bar fight? How many times can we hear the same story over and over again? It's like, hey, I'm a fan of DC and Marvel, right? But how many times can I relive the story of Batman and Superman? It's the same thing over and over again. Unless you recreate it or come with something different, it's going to get stale pretty quickly.
Yeah, and this has nothing to do with Sheamus or Jeff Hardy, what they've done. I mean, they've probably added their creative stuff here, and it's been probably a collaborative effort with the writers, with the writing staff.
Hey, I appreciate the positive message they're trying to put out there.
And I really think that they were trying to be creative, but I think they lost me. And the funny thing is, they didn't lose me at the urine test. They lost me last week with, you know what? I can get past the urine test. It's that sophomore humor that they're known to like from time to time. But what lost me was the toast of Jeff Hardy last week. After that, I was just like, man, it was so just poorly done that I was like, you know what, just get me to this match. And the main question here is, before we move on, is when you head to Extreme Rules, which you got to believe that's where they're headed to, the horror show, that this match is going to be the bar fight. Trendsetter, it's going to be probably another cinematic thing where it's a bar fight. I don't know if there's any bars right now open in Florida or near Orlando, the Performance Center.
Oh, of course not.
But it's going to have to be something, I believe, it's going to be something cinematic. We're already getting another cinematic match at Extreme Rules. So do you think, again, it's just WWE trying to overdo these things, or do you think that this match can be salvaged, and are you looking forward to a bar fight between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus?
Oh, don't put words in my mouth, Jeff. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. In terms of how they execute it, like you said, it could be another cinematic type of match that we are in this day and age seeing a lot of. And some have been good, and some have been misses. Just like this show has been kind of a miss to start off with.
Well, our show has been hits. It's been home runs. It's been grand.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm referring to SmackDown here in this case, not necessarily this. This show is always a home run because you people love it so much. You want us to do it, who knows, maybe 3, maybe 5 days a week. Who knows?
I feel like Razor Ramon now here on this network. I feel like I'm like, yo, we are taking over.
Yeah, little by little, man, we're taking over slowly yet surely. But in terms of this, though, it's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, the positive message they're trying to spin, you appreciate it, but at this time right now, I think, unfortunately, because, these two are really good in the ring. Their match they had prior to this was really good, and you thought would be the building blocks to maybe one or two more matches. Who knows, a longer storyline that they would go their separate ways and reconnect again. But at this point right now, I'm in agreement with you, which I'm sure a lot of members of the crew might be in agreement too, that the message has been sent, it's been overdone, and at this point right now, it's probably best for Sheamus and Jeff Hardy to go their separate ways. So hopefully it comes to a head at the Horror Show Extreme Rules, but that's something to look forward to as we are one more week away from the go-home show of SmackDown.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even get into the whole Miz losing again, because to me, I just think, I don't really care enough to be concerned whether Miz takes another loss or not, or whether that tandem does it, because I'm just so disinterested in what they're doing. I know what they're doing. They're opening up the show with the Miz segment with Miz TV. I get it. That's his thing, and him and Morrison right now are doing the tag team scene, and I would love for them to go, singles, and I would even like to see a rivalry again between them. But right now, this whole thing that's going on here, it's really got me disinterested, and I really, when you think about the Miz taking a loss here, that's what I say.
What else is new?
It's
not the first and it's not the last time he'll take a loss.
Yeah, and so we get Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross against Bayley and Sasha Banks. I love the way they've been described on WWE Raw this week, because they got Asuka and Kairi Sane in a tag team match coming up here, the obnoxious duo. And hey, they're doing their job. They're doing such a tremendous job right now that they're obnoxious. Well, that's the best way to describe them. And here you have Bayley getting the win, a roll-up win again. Again, we're back to the roll-ups, trendsetter. It's going to be
it's the classic heat. You roll up the partner because they're trying to look out for Alexa Bliss. Nikki Cross gets rolled up by Bayley. Bayley puts her foot on the rope, gets the win.
So momentum right now.
Giving you the impression that Nikki Cross has absolutely no chance to defeat Bayley, because Bayley's really beating everybody in WWE right now. But one thing I have to say, and I take out of this, is not only do I take out of the wonderful, amazing, most awesomeness, if that's a word, time of watching Alexa Bliss in the ring.
Alexa Bliss. Can we get our 3-second pause?
Sure. That was more than 3 seconds. But you know what? She's worth it. But it's great to see tag team wrestling in terms of the women's division. Again, I know people are probably, even just
but here's my issue,
just to the point, though, we're tired of tag team wrestling.
Here's my issue, though. Does it, and we're going to get into the tag team wrestling at the end, but is it really exciting to watch tag team match when you know that it's going to be a roll up like that, and that's the end game? I mean, that was just like, oh man, here we go. It's going to be those shows. We're going to get roll ups.
Well, that's what you hope it's not. But in terms of the quality of the entertainment you see, I mean, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss work very well together. They work very well against Sasha and Bayley. I mean, right now, for a title or titles that have not had any type of prestige or anything in terms of relevancy behind it, Jeff, it's nice to see that they're actually trying to emphasize the tag team women's division, because right now, you look on Raw, you got Asuka, and now it looks like Bayley and Sasha have implemented themselves, rightfully so, because they're the tag team champs, on all the shows. But with that, it's like, okay, well, then what else is there? And unfortunately, we saw a direct result of what else is there for the women's division to do on a show, which is karaoke, which we'll dive into in a few minutes, guys. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it as much as you guys are, but, it gives opportunity to showcase other talent. And, when you have a roster that is, it's pretty deep. You were saying?
I was like, well, you know.
Well, you know. It's pretty deep in terms of the talent pool they have there, but just not enough time, enough hours in terms of developing storylines outside the championship. So now the only problem you have is the fact that Bayley is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Who knows if Sasha wins the title? So then you have all the titles focused on one group right now, and the main championships won't be defended. Granted, the SmackDown Women's Championship will be defended at the Horror Show Extreme Rules, but again, it loses its luster, in my opinion, because of that. But again, excited to see tag team wrestling back in form, because right now for a show that's kind of lacking in terms of storyline, at least you're keeping action in the ring.
I can't get excited about any tag team wrestling when the outcome comes out with a roll-up. I mean, again, it's them fearing making anyone look bad, and how many times have we said that sometimes a loss ain't a bad thing because it's the way you're portrayed in the loss. If you can do it in a way where you're still made to look strong, then go far. Just go get a win over here. We don't need a roll-up win. Yes, does it get heel heat on Bayley? Sure, of course. Does it add momentum for her? Does it make people think that Bayley is going to come out victorious? It's going to be just an automatic cinch at Extreme Rules Horror Show? Yeah, maybe. But you know what? There's other ways to do it. And if you're going to get me excited about a tag team match, well, let's have a nice, proper ending for it. Because to me, sometimes I've seen matches where they go 20 minutes, 25 minutes hard, and you're like, wow, they're actually giving you here a good match. And then they just end it with a cheap roll-up is just something where they need to rethink this stuff.
You seem to be the kind of guy, Jeff, that enjoys more how the match ends rather than the whole match in its entirety.
Well, yeah, because I know it's their job to go out there and they're told, hey, it's a roll-up, but you're going to go 25 minutes. But
does that really take away from the enjoyment of the match just because it ended in a roll-up like that?
Because it's something they always go to, you know what I mean? Actually, it can if it's done a lot. Okay. If it's done a lot, it can. So that's why I think sometimes while you can be excited that they're doing tag team wrestling in the women's division, then you're like, well, you know what? Then at least let's get some kind of change. Let's not get the same roll thing that we're falling back into this. That's what I'm saying because Trendsetter going forward in just a little bit, you get the same thing with the SmackDown Tag Team Men's Championships, and just this
is really grinding your gears, then, isn't it?
Man, you get a no contest and roll ups and stuff like that, whatever. But listen,
spoiler alert,
you're trying to get through the shows, and I get it. And sometimes you got a week before the go home show, you got to get through this, and that's what I feel like this show was. This whole show was just get through this, and We'll get into the whole karaoke thing that you mentioned because I got a few thoughts on that as well. So, we'll get into that. We'll delve into what happened there. But they showed the whole Money in the Bank match as we head into Extreme Rules, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship, and we go back to Money in the Bank and we see how Bray Wyatt was fooled, just regular Bray Wyatt was fooled by Braun Strowman and thought he was going to come back. He was going to follow the buzzers again. He was going to be led by his former leader, only to be tricked and end up taking the loss. And I guess we needed to see that just to reinforce this personal rivalry now between Braun and Bray. And I think this match is going to deliver at Extreme Rules, though.
I think so, too. I mean, if it doesn't deliver, that'll be a disappointment. But again, wouldn't surprise me because a lot of those are hits and misses. But when you have a scenario with Bray Wyatt and the incredibly creative mind that he has right now, and Braun's also showing another side of himself. He's not just brute force and strength. He also can be very demonic. He can play that mental warfare game, which we saw in the repeat here at Money in the Bank when he conned Bray Wyatt and actually defeated him. So, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. We're in a swamp match right now. That's what's going to happen at Extreme Rules.
Swamp Band's playing the swamp.
Swamp Band's playing the swamp. And, again, there's no question it's going to be cinematic, but it's exciting for the mere fact that, there is no how far you can go in the mind of Bray Wyatt. Here's my main concern, though, Jeff, the mere fact that, we talked about this before. When Bray Wyatt had returned after a lengthy period of time off and came back as Bray Wyatt, he said, you never go back to the old Bray Wyatt he was before. And I'm not going to call out WWE for contradicting that again because we know they're very well known for that. What I am concerned, though, is that when he came back, he was Bray Wyatt, and then The Fiend came out. And The Fiend was this supposed to be this dominant force that could not be stopped. And our main concern was the mere fact that we were all liking it. A lot of people were behind it. But the fear was, okay, he's this dominant. Do we put him in the title picture? And if you do put him in the title picture, how can you not have him become champion and not hurt him in the same process? What ended up happening is he became champion. And then you're like, okay, you're giving a title to somebody who, in all honesty, guys, even when Bray Wyatt was following the buzzers types of Bray Wyatt, didn't need the title.
Nope.
You put him back in the scenario, in the situation, again, at Extreme Rules in a swamp match. Prior to that, lost already to Braun Strowman. So can we afford him to lose again? This is the predicament you're put in. Can you afford to have Bray Wyatt lose again now as he is the old Bray Wyatt, lose in his own game? obviously that builds up Braun Strowman, or do you have him become Universal Champion? So you're taking the momentum away from Braun now, you're putting it back on Bray, and then where do you go from there? So it's really a head scratcher of what could happen.
Quite a conundrum, right?
Yeah, it's really a head scratcher here in terms of this is what I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen. I think it's going to be great quality, but the outcome is really going to dictate a lot of what's going to happen on SmackDown for the months to come.
Yeah, so again...
what do you think is the good move? I mean, we're not going to break down the card, but do you feel the same type of concern that I'm feeling right now?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier about this. We talked about, we weren't doing the show when they did Saudi and the Fiend lost to Goldberg, right? We didn't do that. We didn't talk about it. It caused so much controversy because you had somebody that had tons of momentum in the Fiend, and we're like, oh, when is the exact point where he loses? And we were all surprised that it happened, but, I mean, it led to everything else going on. It led to...
him facing John Cena and the event.
Exactly. So it worked out. It worked out in the end. But now this is too soon, right? And I totally believe that there might be some outside interference. There might be somebody that maybe from Bray Wyatt's past or a new family member to come.
Well, we know it's not Luke Harper.
No, we know
it's not Eric Rowan.
And again, but this is something for next week that we can discuss and think about what could happen. But I think there's going to be outside interference.
Okay.
I think there's going to be something to cause this rivalry to go a little bit longer.
So some outside swamp interference is what you're telling me.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's that key outside swamp interference that might happen. And am I counting on it? Am I banking on it? Who knows? Probably. But I think that's the way it's going to go. I'll have more time to think about this as we see. These are the things that I got to think about next week, man. I got to think about what's going to happen. I got to think about who's going to be Nyla Rose's manager, and I got to think about who's going to be the outside interference that Bray Wyatt's going to count on. And
that first one, different show, buddy.
Yeah. So
talking about SmackDown.
Yeah, I got tons of stuff to think about here next week as we head into the following weeks here. But how about some karaoke, buddy?
Now, this is something you don't have to think about.
No. I mean, man, should I give my reaction afterwards? Should I don't know, man, because...
Might as well do it now.
Yeah, I mean, you had Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Tamina, and Naomi as the competitors, and was it Jey Uso that was, I guess, the host, the MC?
Jey or Jimmy, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it had to be one of the two. But,
yes.
Wow, what to make of it. You had Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke. Again, I haven't seen Dana in a while, so it's good to see her. But we're talking about having nothing for the women to do. Well, let's just put them in the karaoke scene on Fox. Is this what Fox paid for? Is this what they're going, yay, this is why we have them on network television?
Well, we know they're not doing that, but we also know, too, that this is just, again... WWE's attempt of just trying to give you something different, trying to be funny, trying to give you a little break in terms of it. They try to make it a variety show, but unfortunately, this is something that, at least for me, I shake my head and I kind of cry tears of sadness rather than tears of joy because it's just like, wow, we've gone to this point right now. I mean, just look at the participants, Jeff. Lacey Evans, we talked about it.
A couple weeks ago, you were saying you were excited about Lacey Evans' future.
Exactly, saying, man, she's come leaps and bounds in terms of her in-ring ability. She's starting to develop her character even stronger. It seems like maybe she's going in the right direction where they really don't want to showcase her as one of the main faces of that women's division. She's singing Jeff Jarrett's famous, or the Road Dogg's famous, Baby Tonight. Dana Brooke, who was so intriguing in NXT, and as soon as she came up, was pitted with Charlotte, and now... it's like they don't know what to do with her. I give her credit in this, though, that every role she's given, she does it 100%. Is it done well?
She's trying.
In terms of that? She's trying. She's trying to get herself out there, so I can't fault her on that. Tamina Snuka, though they call her Tamina now because she has no last name. Man, super talented, but now she's been dealt with injuries after injuries. It's always sidetracked her. And now what? She's in a karaoke where, maybe they're trying to show another side of her, but this time right now you could definitely tell how uncomfortable she was there. Maybe sometimes you have to kind of break out of your shell, but this time it doesn't fit Tamina and then Naomi.
The most talented one of all, and she butchers the American Dreams theme song, brother. I mean, how is that possible that you mess up the American Dreams song? I mean, I don't understand what's going on here.
Really, from just being very neutral on this whole thing. I mean, we can go off emotions of we could say it was ridiculous, it was dumb, it was a waste of time. But this really felt, in my opinion, as much as the W tried to make this a funny segment, a kind of laugh, even beyond sophomoric humor, just more of a chuckles and laugh and enjoy yourself a little bit type of thing and kind of not take things too seriously. To me, it was a wasted segment. It was wasted time in terms of, yes, you got that, you had them singing, and then there's a little scuffle and battle that happened afterwards because Naomi ended up becoming the winner and Lacey Evans wasn't happy with that, and then all of a sudden everybody's fighting each other. But you could have put something else in there, I felt. And I feel that just takes time away from other people who so desperately want TV time.
I know it was impromptu, right? It was impromptu. But still, the Lacey's got to, we all know it's not impromptu. They know it's impromptu. And you'd think that she'd have, like, an outfit to wrestle with instead of being in the dress. And she actually literally wrestled in the dress.
Well, neither her nor Naomi had anything to wrestle with.
Well, Naomi looked more like in-ring ready than Lacey Evans did, And then, I mean, just the whole thing to me didn't really work at all.
Well, it takes a classy lady to wrestle in a dress, Jeff.
It does take a classy lady. And then sometimes I feel sorry for, like, Michael Cole and Corey Graves because how many matches have they called in their careers?
They say you're going to feel sorry for them because they're always being attacked now by the wrestlers.
Yeah, right?
They're always attacking
That's
them.
another thing that they've been doing is that they've been attacking the announcers too. Like it's just verbal.
So that's the new thing. I think everyone in the back
again,
is like, hey,
they don't control anything for goodness sakes. But yeah, man. I mean, Naomi
got to be
butchering American Dream's song "Dusty Roads," and I wonder if that's a little jab at anything AEW-ish. You think it's a slight little jab at AEW?
If it was a jab, it's a pretty weak jab in my opinion right now because although that song is very iconic, Jeff. In my heart, and I'm sure the hearts of many of the crew listening to this right now, at the end of the day, if you're going to butcher a song, I mean, WWE already did a great job of trying to butcher Dusty Rhodes' name when they gave him Polka Dots. That song is kick-ass. It is so catchy. Makes me want to gyrate.
So, so what are we doing here? Are we gonna get?
I don't know, man. I'm just feeling like
for Naomi not to know the words.
I just feel like a
Naomi,
common man.
You just gotta Naomi. You just have to really like take time and rehearse it and like really. Exactly. It's so easy to remember. And you got to have the cowbell, too. You know what I mean? Can I have some cowbell, trendsetter?
Got your prescription right here.
There you go, Naomi. You just got to get in the rhythm. You got to get in the flow. Working hard with his, with his hands, man.
Oh, she's on hard times, man.
Hard times, baby. Naomi, this is a legendary song right here. This is a song that I grew up to, man. You know what I mean? So,
iconic to say the least. And man, could Dusty Rhodes move? Not in the ring, man, but that guy could dance.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man, he was so secure with himself.
Such an underrated dancer.
Then of course Tamina. I mean, what an effort she gave with Triple H's song "Time to Play the Game." You know what I mean? Like, you got a little few bars. There you go. Then you got to get your voice scratching. Time to play the game.
Oh, I can't do that. It hurts my throat.
Yeah. A little laugh too.
That hurt my throat.
Yeah, I mean that's iconic too. That song too, man. Well,
it's become iconic obviously because of the band that plays it. But ultimately, Jeff, you would have topped it all if Tamina had a bottle of water with her. But again, due to COVID-19, you can't really do that anymore.
You can't really spray that
unfortunately,
anymore. Oh my God, is that going to be now banned forever? You think?
Really? You're just thinking about this now?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
you just totally blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, unless they come up with a vaccine, but at the same time, you never know because that's not the in thing right now because you don't want people breathing on you, let alone spitting water at you.
And then Dana Brooke with the Honky Tonk Man's iconic theme song as well too. I mean, if it doesn't make you want to doodle. Rock and roll.
Rattle, and roll, Jeff. What are you talking about, man?
Oh, my God. It reminds me when I had long side burns,
You still do,
and your hair is kind of slicked back right now. Oh, man.
Where can I get a jumpsuit like that?
We're going to pink Cadillac right about it now. He's the honky tonk man. He's the honky tonk man.
My favorite part here. I'm cool.
I'm cocky. I'm bad. Come on. I mean, we would ace it in a second, man. Love the honky tonk man. Congratulations on finally being inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame as well, too. But
that was a while ago.
Yeah, actually, that was last year. So
really,
still not too late. Still not too late. Congratulations. And oh no, I'm sorry. No, yeah, it was 2 years ago. I forgot about this WrestleMania that we had.
I know my math.
And then of course we get to my favorite one, the one that's been made famous by Bruce Pritchard recently. For someone to wrestle with, and that is Whip My Baby Tonight. And I will tell you one thing, Trendsetter, I really, for the longest time, thought that was Jeff Jarrett's voice.
Oh, yeah, I remember watching. I was like, man, I hate him as a wrestler, but this guy can sing.
Let me see here if I can. My day's working hard on the go. Put the hands on the clock. Keep spinning too slow. 'Cause I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight. How's that sound? Yeah? Yeah? You're falling asleep over there, Trendsetter. Oh, man.
I'm not falling asleep, Jeff. I'm just reminiscing. Reminiscing of a simpler time, guys.
When they came out with the Road Dogg, and he said that he was the real Double J.
Well, Vince McMahon said he was the real Double J.
Blew my mind.
Because he was Jesse James.
Blew my mind.
Put 2 and 2 together, right?
Yeah.
The real.
Like, oh, crap. Yep. It's like they knew how to do that because when Jeff Jarrett left, they exposed this, right?
Mm-hmm. People give R-Truth a lot of credit for the fact that he comes out and sings his own theme song, but you know what? Shawn Michaels sang his own theme song too, but it was pre-recorded. Yeah. Jesse James, the Road Dogg, every night would sing his theme song coming back from the ring every single time.
And before we did this amazing production here in the studio, we looked back at the Hall of Fame speech for Double J Jeff Jarrett, and when Road Dogg and Jeff Jarrett did that, you would have thought they could have rehearsed a little bit more. Because that would have been a stellar WrestleMania moment had they really pulled that off.
Yeah, funny how a company that goes about scripting things so much and over-rehearsing things didn't rehearse that. But again, that's what makes it authentic. That's what makes it memorable because Road Dogg didn't know the lines. Jeff Jarrett, God forbid, he couldn't sing on a tune if his life depended on it, but left for some pretty entertaining. That was more entertaining in terms of karaoke than we saw on SmackDown. Now, we gave our best shot for you guys in terms of that, but, moving on from that lighter side.
And the audience, shame on yourselves for having Naomi win that. Because she butchered the American Dreams theme song.
Yeah, who would you have given it to, though?
I don't know.
Lacey? Lacey gave it an effort. She was working it. But, Naomi wins that contest, gets in a scuffle with Lacey, and then we don't know where we'll go from here. Maybe at Extreme Rules there'll be a rematch.
Musical chairs. Maybe it'll be a musical chairs
limbo
rematch, or the lambada, or you're right.
that's become a popular thing too, right? Lip sync battles, like when people just lip syncing.
Yeah, or they can do a TikTok video.
That would be entertaining. That really would be.
Are you into TikTok?
I am not into TikTok. I don't know what it is, and I've never used it before.
Everyone's using that now, man.
Yeah, it's the new thing. 10 weeks from now, there'll be another new social media outlet.
Our true champion, though, AJ Styles, comes to save the day. We get a backstage interview with him. He says it's going to be a cakewalk after humiliating Drew Gulak last week, and how he's going to have a long title reign, but is informed by the lovely backstage host that he's got to defend that Intercontinental title next week against Matt Riddle. Now, for you people that don't know what's going on with Matt Riddle, I was surprised by his absence this week, but he did clear up some rumors about the allegations of stuff he's been accused of this whole Speak Out movement, basically saying that he did have an extramarital affair. It was consensual. He broke it off, and then she basically became obsessed. That's why those pictures came out of Matt Riddle, kissing her. But he did admit that he did have an extramarital affair, and so he cleared things up. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully you can move on. I'm sure it's not something he's proud of, but he spoke out, told the truth, and now, he will now. The road is clear for him now. He will have an IC title shot next week against a very shook AJ Styles. Does AJ Styles have a reason to be shook, Trendsetter?
Absolutely not. There's no reason for AJ Styles to be shook whatsoever. I think what shook him the most is the mere fact that they're giving people, and honestly, honestly, and you could say, okay, Matt Riddle, hey, he beat AJ Styles in his debut. He has an opportunity, but come on. You beat the champion once on a scenario where AJ Styles was not prepared whatsoever, and I know champions should always be prepared, but everyone has a bad day every once in a while, Jeff. Even you. I mean, you countlessly have bad days all the time, so yours be opposite.
I'm taking a bad day here on this show today.
Exactly. 364 for you, I guess it's this time for you right now. But
and how does Ricochet have a 365? Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
He's got a 365, and he's jobbing with Cedric Alexander.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. Did it come out yet?
Yeah, it's on. It should be.
I didn't see it.
365. How about 180?
Good old Trevor. Good Trevor. Good for you. But, back to AJ Styles, though, somebody who actually has some relevancy right now because they haven't given up on him like they've given up on Ricochet, unfortunately. Super talented Ricochet. But, again, focusing on AJ. it's going to be that scenario where, he feels the people aren't worthy for him to defend that title. I completely agree with AJ because that makes sense right now. Are you for, Jeff, the Intercontinental title being defended similar to, when John Cena came out and issued that U.S. title open challenge? What we're seeing kind of become the new norm now. You're going to defend it against everyone. So does it make sense to defend it for a championship to all comers, or do you have to be selective?
Again, this is why I remember our conversations. You believe that AJ Styles should be selective. You think it shouldn't be all comers. I brought up the case of Bret Hart, but you were like, it wasn't really everybody. But I remember him taking on the Hakushis and the General Mustafas, the Berserkers, and Skinner. I remember you always say Skinner, Skinner. But
Jeff, in all honesty, that was Bret Hart trying to prove a point, trying to prove that he was worth the amount of investment that WWE and Vince McMahon was going to put in him. AJ Styles doesn't need to prove that.
No,
he's proved that already. He doesn't need to prove to anybody more that he's the top guy, the best wrestler, not only in the company, he could be the best wrestler on 2 feet, to steal a quote from Stone Cold Steve Austin, in the world today. He doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. But I do believe there needs to be a ranking system, though, for the mere fact that open challenges are cool, but they get stale as well. Everything gets stale after a while, but I think you have to earn it. The individuals competing against each other, which create intriguing storylines, because individuals that are competing against each other are having an opportunity to compete for the IC title. That would showcase the importance it is to face the champion, and more importantly, when that happens, it shows the importance of winning that title.
Well, you know how they did the Cruiserweight tournament recently on NXT, the one where Drake Maverick was kind of fired? And
so the title was vacated.
Yeah, but they did kind of like you have to go through 3 people first. You really weren't eliminated on the first loss, whatever, like that. I mean, I think something like that would be cool. A ranking system like they do in AEW is cool. I mean, I haven't seen really people complain about that. The ranking system, it's maybe something different, maybe something WWE will want to eventually steal.
It's AEW though.
They've stolen an eye for an eye.
And NXT,
I mean, come on now.
But NXT has done that as well, and we both know in terms of another tournament that we're very fond of, the King of the Ring.
Oh man,
that's something that could be done so great.
NXT's got to do the King of the Ring.
Have that done in one night, not this whole after several weeks, and then you have the finals at the event. But Vince isn't into those types of tournaments anymore. So that's I get it. Makes sense. That's why I also love stuff like New Japan too, when they have the G1 tournament or the Super Juniors. That's always cool to watch. But I think that would be well implemented in WWE now, because that seems to be the thing where everybody's excited to see it. You showcase more talent. You show the significance of the importance of having an opportunity to face a champion of any caliber in that company, whether it be WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Pro Wrestling, Impact, whatever, name your choice there. But yeah, the big problem for me is that Vince, he doesn't like those.
Yeah. So AJ Styles and Matt Riddle next week. So I really want to rapidly close with this matchup here, because there's 3 things that I want to touch with the trendsetter here. So we'll wrap this up real quick as far as the rundown here. So we talked about whether it was too soon for Shinsuke and Cesaro to become the tag team champions. I was more on the notion to get them the titles now, because I was kind of getting tired of the New Day's act. Trendsetter was like, well, where would they go from there, right? So basically, there's no contest, but Shinsuke and Cesaro got the best of the New Day, putting them through tables. So it looks like it's going to be to be continued with these guys. I thought the match was good, but again, though, no contest. Obviously, it's to prolong this whole situation. At the end of the day, you think Cesaro and Nakamura will be the tag team champions?
I don't think so.
No?
Would I like for it to happen? Change your question? Yes. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so right now. I think they have just so much more invested in the New Day right now, where you're like, you brought the point last week where it's getting stale. Get rid of it. Maybe it's stale from our standpoint or your standpoint, but right now in terms of business and what generates money and what generates merchandise sales and what generates just people wanting to watch something like that, they're the cash cow in the tag team division right now. To take that off of them and put that same type of responsibility and the same expectations on a team like Shinsuke and Cesaro isn't fair to them, isn't fair to the company either. And hey, I'm not a company guy by any standpoints, guys. I work against the company, but in this case right now, to me, it just doesn't make sense to do that. It's going to continue on at Horror Show at Extreme Rules, but in terms of Cesaro and Shinsuke becoming tag team champions, I want to see it. I believe it can be successful if done correctly. And
well, that's a big if right there.
If you're asking how's it done correctly,
yeah.
It's not up to me. It's up for creative to figure out. But don't think it's going to happen.
Has been great. All right, Trendsetter. So it was a ho hum episode.
There was a jab there, like their track record's been great.
Well, I mean, yeah, what can you say? I've been a little let down the last couple weeks. Okay. All right, so that wraps it up with as far as SmackDown. So I want to touch with three things before we wrap it up here. Trendsetter. So NXT, we had Keith Lee become a double champion, won the title against Adam Cole in a good match at the Great American Bash. So now there's talk of maybe bringing some members of the Undisputed Era up to the main roster. We don't know yet what Adam Cole's contractual status is. We know that it expires in early August, so there's been talks about AEW maybe getting in the fold. Britt Baker's kind of teased that he'd come back home to his family, in an interview where she mentioned that. Kind of was a little cryptic on that one with Adam Cole's future. The main thing is, if you were going to put the Undisputed Era, let's say all of them are going to get called up because there's rumors saying that the WWE NXT has no plans for them as of now that they've given up the title. What do you think is their best place, Raw or SmackDown?
Those are my only two options because right now it'd be NXT.
Yeah, let's just say that Adam Cole signs with WWE because he's got that close relationship with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, right? I'm going to say that's a key factor, and he's comfortable there. I'm sure he can be a star in AEW as well. That would be a huge get for them. Reunites them with the Young Bucks too. They can go a lot of ways with that angle, and it would be cool. But say he stays, where is the best place for the Undisputed Era?
All right, my answer is two ways. I'm not going to be long-winded here. I think they should go to SmackDown because to work with a team like the New Day would be great. It'd be refreshing. It'd be brand new. It would extend the longevity of New Day, which I know is something you want to extinguish, but I think it would extend the longevity, and if ever you were to pass the titles on to somebody in terms of making them now the workhorses of that tag team division or that faction division, it would be Undisputed Era. But I think what's going to happen is I think they'll eventually go to Raw. And the reason why I want to go Raw is you look at that tag team division, you look in terms of what they have in terms of factions over there, not very strong. But the huge question mark on all of this is what's going to happen with Adam Cole. And will he join them? If he joins them, then Raw makes more sense because you want to put that on the flagship show.
Plus, I think you'd have to get the title off of Braun Strowman because there's no way that Adam Cole and Braun Strowman works.
Well, did Keith Lee and Adam Cole work for you?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but I cannot believe Adam Cole and Braun Strowman.
No, yeah, and the only reason I'm making that example is because we saw at the Royal Rumble, the two of them measured kind of the same height, same size. But, that's what I hear nowadays.
Adam Cole and Braun?
Keith Lee.
Adam Cole. Oh, yeah, I mean...
when Keith Lee and Braun Strowman were at the Royal Rumble, they measured up face-to-face.
But I'm talking about Adam Cole. Could you buy
Adam Cole? But when you compare, you're using the comparison, could you see Adam Cole go one-on-one against Braun Strowman? He just went one-on-one with Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Was that believable or not? Both kind of the same size, same type of guy, not in terms of the ring, but you know what I'm talking about in terms of size. So is it believable? If it's believable in NXT, it should be believable on the main roster. But like I said, I think they're going to Raw rather than SmackDown. I could see Adam Cole facing a guy like Drew McIntyre, which again, it's apples and oranges in terms of size and height, but they have great chemistry together. I think that would be a great rivalry for Drew McIntyre. It would be a great opportunity for Adam Cole. But honestly, if you're going to keep them on the WWE brand, I think Raw is going to be the choice there because they want to put more names and want to put more star power behind it. And granted, people are like, oh, the Undisputed Era, are they star power? Because we've known the history of NXT where when people are brought up from NXT to Raw or SmackDown, it's like they're starting all over again. Here you have the opportunity, hence WWE, the opportunity to not do that again and give them the full reins right now because, the Raw roster is really depleted in my opinion.
Yeah, and the SmackDown right now, the last couple of weeks, I mean, and just in general, too, because, like I said, we try to be positive here on the show, and we will, give our 2 cents when we think something should be fixed, something maybe, like, overkilled or should be not done, right? Because we're not going to just kill everything, right? Because that's what we want to do. But do you think at the end of the day, with them having to cancel Backstage, do you think Fox is truly getting, and I know there's a pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. But do you think right now Fox is getting truly the best out of SmackDown?
No. The simple answer, no, they're not. And I honestly feel that besides the first episode that was on Fox, which they pulled all the bells and whistles, treated it more like a WrestleMania event, which
I mean, that's how they should do.
They should have
be
done
all hands
that.
On deck, yeah.
It's just impossible to keep that consistency going. And you saw that, obviously, in the second week and the third week of the show when they're on Fox. So, as much as you're in the sense that, Fox is mad and they're upset, well, my opinion, too, is that Fox should have known what they were getting into. Vince and WWE creative and management could have promised all these things in terms of ratings, in terms of viewership. Now, they'll get eyes on them because they are a well-known worldwide brand, WWE. But if Fox was, and I mentioned this on the High Spot podcast, dumb enough to believe they were going to get 100% revenue despite the pandemic on their investment, then they were completely wrong, and they shouldn't have offered the money they offered.
All right, I was going to go with one, but we probably touch on this next week. So I'll save that one, put it in my back pocket. I'll get back to it. But this one involves our Intercontinental Champion. Now, AJ Styles was on his show, where I guess he plays the video games and stuff like that.
Yes.
And he mentioned that he really didn't have any. He wasn't really bullied on Raw, and his choice to go on SmackDown wasn't because of that, nor was it because he was lied to by Paul Heyman that he was going to take care of Gallows and Anderson. But you go back to that time where Paul Heyman was reaping the, singing the praises of AJ Styles. AJ Styles has quite the opposite feeling towards Paul Heyman. He called him a flat out liar and said that. One thing he does know about him from his ECW days, he's basically a flat-out liar, will lie right to your face. Something that kind of was surprising to me because, you felt all that love there at that one point where Paul Heyman really, and had that moment there backstage. I forget what documentary that was. I think it was AJ Styles one.
It was AJ Styles 365.
Right?
It's after he had fought Brock Lesnar. Yeah. It was Night of Champions, I believe, and there was champion versus champion.
Survivor Series?
The Survivor Series, one of the two. It was champion from both brands facing each other, and AJ Styles had defeated Jinder Mahal to become the champion to face Brock Lesnar. And then after the match, Paul Heyman dragged AJ Styles alongside him, and he did an interview. I think it went straight to the internet, or was on WWE Backstage, or just went to their social media, singing the praises of the talent of AJ Styles. You saw AJ being very emotional about that. But when you say this, I mean, a lot of time has gone by between that moment and now, so things could change in terms of working relationships. But at the same time, hey, I love Paul Heyman just as much as the next guy. I would call myself a Paul Heyman guy, but any guy that's been a Paul Heyman guy, Jeff, would say the same thing, too, that Paul Heyman's a liar. Paul Heyman will do anything he can to convince you otherwise of something that maybe he doesn't believe in himself.
He didn't get to be a Paul Heyman without, being Paul Heyman, right?
Yeah.
Right? So, Paul Heyman's going to be Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's not going to be Paul Heyman without being Paul Heyman.
All right, Mike Francesa.
But, I mean, that's stuff we're going to address here because those are rumors concerning our SmackDown guys. And plus, with the whole NXT Undisputed Era, there's a chance they do go to SmackDown.
Did he say it in a malice way, like a really angry way about him? Or was it more just like he's a liar?
I read it in the reports.
You read it? Okay.
So, but this was really, he did say this. So I'd have to go back to look at that and stuff like that. And shame on me for not doing that. I went with the what's going on in the dirt sheets, right? But, the way it sounds, though, he says that, he was a liar in ECW, so it doesn't surprise him that, he's a liar. He basically called him a liar. Okay. So there's no really...
I'm sure Paul Heyman's been called worse.
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure by Vince,
Exactly.
So yeah, man, trendsetter. It's great doing karaoke. I'm probably gonna take some cough drops after this.
Take a cup of warm water, 3 sugar packets, lubricate those vocal cords.
Yeah?
That's how you do it.
Warm water, or is it...
Lukewarm water.
Lukewarm?
Doesn't have to be hot tea water, just lukewarm water, temperature water. Put some 3 sugar packets in there, lubricate those vocal cords. I learned that trick from Chris Jericho.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, after those vodka drinks and stuff like that, you got to get back on the stage. All right, so
just prior to that, but
I'm going to kind of wrap us up here.
Sure.
And I want you to set up so we can close out with my baby tonight. Can we do that?
Yes, you can.
All right. So, guys, you've been listening to the SmackDown review, High Spot Podcast, HSP SmackDown review, and on the WWE Unofficial Podcast. Great to be here. Great to do the AEW Dynamite recap as well on Wednesdays. So you're getting more of the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and we are taking over. So, for the trendsetter, I am Jeff Martin, and if you guys haven't realized this by now, we do this for you, the crew. Can't wait to be alone with my baby at night.